Buongiorno, my dearest patrons. How is it going, everyone? The festivities are now a thing of the past or the far future. Well, depends on the perspective you see things, to be honest.
Duh.
And today I felt the need to come to you with an offering of a warm slice of pizza.
Can you handle all that? It's a lot of pizza.
Young lady, I assure you, there's no amount of greasy cheese bread that could surpass my abilities.
So good. Pizza Siciliana. Very good. I found a place here that does a perfect pizza Siciliana. Amazing. Okay, be right back.
An eternity later.
Good morning, good morning. It's great to stay up late.
That for sure was heavy. Sorry guys, give me 1 minute. What time is it? Oh my goodness, it's already night. Be right back. Apologies for that. It was indeed a very good pizza, but it was heavy as hell and I went into food coma. Anyway, today I wanted to give you my 2 cents on mediums. I've already gave my 2 personal categories of mediums. Either they're scammers, you know, the usual kind, the one they're just aiming for your money specifically, or for gullible people money, or they are people with a strong belief in all superstitious things and they mistake their innate ability of observation with some sort of spiritual mumbo jumbo, suppressing in the process their ability of critical thinking. No matter what happens to them, they will interpret the world around them as paranormal. Most of occurrences will be labeled as a sign of otherworldly presence. My stance on the matter is very well known. Sometimes I joke about that I consider myself an old guy that believes in nothing. And that's pretty much the truth. Today I wanted to talk about a specific figure, a very well-known one in the matter of paranormal mediums, Tyler Henry. So Tyler became famous on E! Network for showcasing the ability of being able to communicate with ghosts, you know, beloved people who passed, and his customer base, for the most part, is celebrities. Very difficult to search facts on VIPs by looking up in the internet. Very difficult. Many of you have already read or heard or already know about all these methods I'm about to list in a bit. But I believe in a concept that my ancestor passed down to generation. My ancestor, aka the Romans. And it is a thing that my late father used to tell me when he wanted to push in my thick, heavy skull a lesson, and I didn't want to learn.
A snake!
Snake! My ass!
Repetita juvent, which can be translated repeated things are beneficials. So it's always better to repeat and say these kinds of things more times so they can be impressed in people's brains. Sorry. So the first method is of course called reading, making high probability guesses based on the subject's appearance, body language and responses. Everybody is aware of that. And is achieved through the use of vague statements that could apply to many people. For example, I sense you have had some challenges in your life. Then we have hot reading. This is when the psychic has prior knowledge about the person they're reading, often obtained through research, through various sources and social medias. Barnum statements. Statements that are general enough and they can be applied to a wider audience but seem personal. An example can be like, you have a strong need for others, you have a strong need for others to like you and admire you. That's one. Then we have different psychological techniques, using knowledge of psychologists to manipulate responses and emotions. I mean, It's quite common as well, they use it. Symbolism metaphor, they are always employed in this kind of readings because using symbols and metaphors that can mean different things to different people can make the medium have a sort of advantage to the person they are reading. And they use that. Reading environmental cues create a specific atmosphere that enhances the experience of the reading, like dim lighting, soft music, and then of course the employment of the usual props, crystals, sketchbooks, tarot cards, and all sorts of these shenanigans that make no sense. But anyway, let's see what this guy is capable of doing, and it will be the usual pleasure of Cartoon Alessio of debunking the old stuff, so enjoy. Alessio, you're up. Thanks, Alessio. Let's all watch the fantastic adventures of Mr. Henry and his ability to speak with the dead. Let's observe how people, famous one, get their readings done by the amazing Tyler Henry. Genuine medium or scam artist? Spoiler, it's the latter.
Do you know who I am?
No, not really.
Okay.
No, sorry.
So, are you telling us that you don't know who Boy George is? I mean, he is 28 according to his wiki. I get it, but there are certain names that even Gen Zers know about. For example, the Magic Man Magic Johnson.
Battle with authority, and out of the backcourt, everybody is authoritative. Magic behind the back. No look pass.
Larry Bird, aka Larry Legend. Cap Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
So many years. Well, that's bread and butter right there, Kareem. And the foul.
His hairness Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And the Black Mamba Kobe. Excuse me, LeBron, who got my bottom? I bet even though people don't know a thing about basketball, they will instantly recognize one of these names. I can do the same thing with wrestling. Even a non-wrestling fan knows who Hulk Hogan is.
And what's it gonna do when Hulkamania and the largest arms in the world run wild on you?
And for music, well, Boy George indeed was one of those people who made a huge impact in the 80s. And you, Tyler, expect the audience to believe that you don't know anything about Boy George. Bullshit.
I'll just kind of start scribbling. We'll see what comes through. We'll see what makes sense. We'll see what doesn't. Yeah, I just have a couple people popping in.
I'm a bit uncomfortable with talking with people that have passed. I feel it's a bit weird.
For sure, younger male energy that passed and died too soon. And that was kind of coming through on the way here.
Oh, really? Someone who died too soon is quite a generic statement. What are we talking about here?
There's a reference to alcoholism and a reference to heroin addiction. He's referencing to what looks like 3 years where I feel like I'm on the right track, and then I fall off the boat. And I'm getting back into some of these mindsets and these behaviors, and then I pass away. Do you know of anybody
Oh, a lot of people.
who would have dealt with both, but with both, though, at the same time?
A lot of people.
You're really asking someone in the music business if he knew of anyone who had problems such as drug addiction and alcoholism, who went in rehab and then fell again into the addiction trap on and off until they died?
Are you fucking for real?
Wow, you must be very good, kid. And thanks goodness Boy George points it out. Yeah, unfortunately, there are many people who suffer from this in the show business.
The specific thing here is that there was a performance done after the individual died. That was in their memory.
But he did write wonderful words for him at the funeral.
So if someone did a show and devoted something to him, that might be the gist, but the specific focus is electric guitar.
He's so obviously Steve Strange.
Of course he's talking about Steve Strange, and there are articles about that specific thing dated back to 2015. Steve Strange passed away on the 12th of February 2015, and the info are also available on Wikipedia. For many years, Strange was addicted to heroin. In later years, he suffered a nervous breakdown, and in November 1999, he was arrested for shoplifting. He was caught stealing a Teletubbies doll for his nephew. In court, he was found guilty and given a 3-month suspended sentence, though British media publicized the case of a pop star who had fallen on hard times. In 2002, Strange published his autobiography Blitz, in which he spoke openly about his career, his heroin addiction, his nervous breakdown, his sexuality, and his attempts to get his life back together. So, Tyler, you truly expect us to believe that you did not research the topic before meeting with Boy George?
Yeah, he doesn't want to give him too much. And I don't...
So does that...
By got it, you mean all the necessary info to make Boy George believe that?
As a medium, I need the validation. It's such an essential part of the process. It makes it a little tough when I do a reading and someone isn't really willing to validate or willing to really figure out where something could fit. I would...
Oh, really?
You just described what cold reading is. Usually, as said before, this technique is applied when you have not so many information of the person you're trying to scam. Sorry, you're trying to do the reading to, but in this case you're just using it as a way of acting. It's pretty clear that the method you're using is hard reading in general, which is basically doing the research beforehand. Not a secret. The lack of critical thinking caused probably by the emotional state of your client, since you're talking about loved ones who they lost, will allow you not to be questioned in regards of where you found said info. Anyway, he performed the same exact trick with also Jalil White, and you are saying, who the hell is Jalil White? Let me answer that with this.
Did I do that?
Was your memory refreshed?
A reference to what looks like Ellie or Lily. I'm looking at what looks like E and then L and then L and then E is kind of the only way that I would be able to describe it.
You can't be messing with me now.
Wait a minute, is he the same manager of Boy George? What a strange coincidence.
Come on, man. You gotta be Googling this stuff, John, before you come in here, John. Come on, we're not gonna do this.
What is that?
Well, no. Probably he has somebody else doing the research for him, but yeah, Jalil, you are indeed on the right track.
September birthday, sudden passing, E-L-L-E. No Google.
No Google.
This is just...
This is embarrassing. I don't even recognize you.
So let's see who Tyler is talking about here.
Talking about Michelle Thomas.
A co-star of Family Matters who tragically passed away at the age of 30 in 1998, who played the role of Myra on the show. And once again, info available on Wikipedia. By the time the series ended in 1998, White, who was then 21 years old, was disillusioned with the role and had been shaken by the death of his close friend and co-star Michelle Thomas, who died from an aggressive form of cancer to her stomach.
Okay.
She was my old co-star from Family Matters.
Right.
And she died of stomach cancer. Quickly.
And by the looks of it, he seems still sad about the fact. That's where mediums will get your attention, and that's when you stop questioning them, right when they hit the emotional spot. And that's disgusting. Next victim in line is Eddie Judge, who is famous for The Real Housewife of Orange County. I think it's a reality TV and it appears to be also quite bad, so I personally don't know who this guy is, and his wife Tamra Judge. But let's see what our Wonder Boy was able to do for this couple.
He's more of a skeptic than I am.
I'm not a believer. I know about body language. I know about all these techniques and skills that people know on how to manipulate others. But I know she's a believer, but
I believe in a lot of things.
So makes me have some hope that at least one of the two claim to have some common sense and critical thinking.
The only other thing is sometimes people bring objects. Did you bring any objects today?
I did.
Oh, cool. Do you mind if we lay them out on the table by chance or just have them there?
Yeah.
Cool. Perfect. Awesome. And then, Eddie, did you have any objects? I do not. Okay, no worries. I'm just going to give it a sec, see what comes in. We'll go from there.
Well, best of luck to you then, Tyler.
There's a reference on Mom's Side of Family. This isn't a living context, so Mom's still here?
Mom is in the other room.
Oh, shoot. Awesome. So great. Your mom's side of family comes through really strongly, which is just good to keep in mind.
I knew it.
Let me get this straight. The mom is still alive and she's in the other room? And probably you saw this person? How can people fall for that? Yeah, I think that everyone who were present that day knew that Tamra's mom is alive. Guys, this is so stupid. I mean, the method here is very clear. Hard reading, and hard reading, nothing more. And by the way, the list is long of celebrities that have had contact with this kid. Corey Feldman, the very eccentric guy from the Goonies.
Chino hace buen trabajo. Será encerrada aquí con las cucarachas por 2 semanas sin agua y sin comida.
Okay, Rosie?
Es una casa de locos, por Dios.
And his not so prolific music career. Plus his choreography, where he talks about the abusive side of Hollywood. Yeah, I think that book didn't go so well. David Arquette as well. I mean, it looks like a lot of these celebrities were trying to stay relevant by appearing on Tyler's show. Could be. Anyway, the fact that this person uses fraudulent tactics to perform his reading is undoubtable at this point, not to mention that over a 10-year span he has been debunked, called out, also by the Skeptical Inquirer. Did this stop him? No sir. No, it haven't stopped him one bit. Heck, he gets invited to give seminars on the topic, what happened when we die?
Now, naturally, it's a question as a medium everybody has for me. They're like, Tyler, is there stairs? Do some people see pearly gates? What goes on?
It seems like these statements are absurd also for him. Tells you a lot.
And in my life, it has been the greatest source of mystery. It has been so fascinating to have people come through and so clearly acknowledge continuation of consciousness beyond physical death. But when I try to kind of probe them for information, because you know I'm nosy.
Oh yes, you are, with an innate ability of finding the info on Google like nobody else on the planet.
They almost seem amused when I try to inquire. They've likened that explaining certain things from their realm of existence to me, or really to any of us, would be like trying to explain arithmetic to a squirrel. And I am the squirrel.
Okay, so we, the living, apparently are too stupid to understand the complexity of the afterlife, and mediums are as clueless as squirrel trying to understand math. Therefore, we non-mediums have the brain capacity of a bug? Listen mate, I think you are making stuff up on the go, and I do believe this is just an excuse in order to cover yourself when you completely botch a reading. It's the same thing with tarot readers. If you try to approach them with skepticism and they start to botch all the reading, the first thing that they usually do is saying, "That's on you. If you don't take the cards seriously, they will just play with you and start to give false information." It's easier to blame us, the tarots, rather than blaming themselves to be, well, dishonest and pretending to have powers that in reality they don't have.
I'm going to tell you what I know for sure. In every reading that I've done, I've never had somebody come through saying they were stuck, or that they were trapped, or that they were caught in between. Every single individual that I have connected with has acknowledged an expansion of consciousness upon passing away. In essence, they come through and acknowledge that they go through a process of deep introspection when they die.
And these are info you found on Google, or the spirit told you so? Wait a minute, didn't you say just moments ago that as a squirrel you don't understand math?
We call this a life review because it's something that very often people who have near-death experiences report.
And the E, that are considered real hallucinations induced by a low level of oxygen in your brain caused by life-threatening situation like a heart attack in which said organ fails to pump the blood which carries oxygen. A similar thing happens to pilots flying jets and astronauts who suffer a G-force-induced loss of consciousness.
And it's a wider phenomenon that across all cultures, religions, seems to so often apply.
I disagree. Religions, superstitions, and folkloristic beliefs have tried to explain this phenomena without a proper scientific study or research, but instead they deployed heavy bias induced by their belief system.
People get an understanding of the ripple effect of everything they did and didn't do. They understand the impact of their actions and their inactions, not from a place of judgment, but from a place of objective self-assessment.
Something you can easily do while alive.
When people come through, they acknowledge that in life, they were like a droplet of water, and when they pass away, they become part of a vast ocean of consciousness, interconnected in such beautiful ways that allow one to never truly feel alone. All of this ultimately leads to acceptance over how they lived and how they died, and that leads to peace on the other side.
That's very beautiful indeed, but unfortunately there is no solid evidence beside your words that can actually corroborate this beautiful and yet so unrealistic statement. Safely to assume that this person belongs in the category number 1, a scammer, an entertainer if you want to be nice. Make no mistake, these are the type of people that I personally don't like, and not even one bit. Always ready to take advantage of people's grief in order to gain their trust and in most cases their money. Okay, Tyler gets his income via e-network, I get it, but I still personally believe that what these people are doing is completely wrong. Look, I know that I said that only 2 types of mediums exist, and that's because I base my judgment on experience, on Randy's and Polidoro's research. They were never able to find the real deal, and that's a fact. Plus, if you mix this with the statement made by professional magicians such as Mago Silvan, Penn and Teller, Darren Brown, who are extremely familiar with these methods that they use in their magic shows, the idea of what we see is either a scam or a misguided belief gets even stronger in me. Since the beginning of time until now, we haven't found a single proof, a single one, of the existence of ghosts. And not even a single one that there are someone or some sort of people out there capable of communicating with them. I have 2 possible hypotheses for that. Number 1, people with special powers do not exist. That's a possibility. I mean, we have to get real and realize that this is like the most realistic possibility. And then there is the second hypothesis that if these people do exist, A, they have never been found, or they are just basically unwilling to showcase their ability for one reason or another. So this is what I think for the most part. Who knows? But until then, my mindset will be the same until proven wrong. Mediums are not a real thing. With that said, my dear patrons, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. By the way, if you're wondering, I'm wearing this is Deadpool Jesus t-shirt, was a present. So as I said, thank you very much for keeping me company so far and listening to my rants. I know that as an Italian I tend to rant a lot. As always, guys, stay safe, use your critical thinking and common sense as hard as you possibly can, and I see you all the next time. Ciao!